The Etheria Restart PvP God is back at you, giving you an update on some news that the Etheria Restart devs just put out to us not only 10 minutes ago. And if you're watching this, I'm live now, or it might not be, over on Twitch and Kick. Kick.com/Shinya, Twitch.com/lolShinya. And let's get into it. So, as of about 11 p.m. CST on 6/14, the Etheria Restart devs finally gave us some news about the recent the recent nerfs and stuff that they have been doing to the game. A lot of people have been very angry regarding the specific nerfs to units like Veronica and Etheria, and I don't want to say nerfs when it comes to lolShinya, but the changes surrounding the units. There were some pretty big controversies over the past few days with the lack of communications from the devs. A lot of people have been very upset about the changes and the lack of communication. Because, for those unaware, Zadia and Veronica both basically got changed in a hotfix, and lolShinya, the interaction with the boss Aurora was completely changed, where Aurora is not being affected by dots, which a lot of people built lolShinya specifically for. So, people keep calling it a nerf to lolShinya. It's not a nerf, it's a change. lolShinya is still just as good as she was in things like Terror. So, let's get into it. So, a letter to all hyperlinkers. Recent changes and future plans. Dear hyperlinkers, first we extend our sincerest apologies to the players who love and support us for the discussion and concerns. Yada, yada, yada. Great to hear that. A lot of boilerplate verbiage there. Nobody really cares. They should have sent this out 3-4 days ago when they started doing those little hotfixes. They've received a lot of feedback regarding changes. We deeply understand that these adjustments are not fully considered gaming experience and expectations. That's one of the issues that a lot of people are angry about, is that they built these units for these specific PvE modes and then change them, revert them, or change things around where these units aren't as good in PvE anymore. People say, well, why are they nerfing these PvE characters in a PvP game? Well, people don't realize that PvE and PvP are very connectedly intertwined because you need to farm the PvE to get the gear to use in PvP. So, we deeply understand that these adjustments didn't fully consider your game experience expectations, yada, yada, yada. So, people are very upset about these, and they finally actually came out with a response here. So we solemnly pledge to take the following measures. Balance adjustments. To provide a more stable and predictable gaming experience, we have decided that major balance adjustments, including characters, equipment, and core gameplay, will be strictly scheduled during the fixed window between the end of an RTA season and the start of a new one. This is huge news. So one of the things that I really liked about World of Warcraft is any big changes or any big, buffs or nerfs that they did to characters, they would do them in between arena seasons, because that is like the cyclical cycle of the game. Is that as long as you give people enough of a heads up, like a week or two in advance, that hey, in a week or two we will be changing up the meta, we will be changing up, these characters. Here's the nerfs and buffs. Prepare for them. Doing it in the middle of the season, depending on what characters got nerfs or buffs, completely changes the ebb and flow of how the PvP in the game happens, right? It changes the metas, it changes what people want to ban in case of RTA and an Etheria Restart. It switches up the whole dynamic of the game. And giving people enough advance notice that what is coming is so incredibly important, and I'm glad the devs actually listened. Devs listened! Oh my god, who would have saw that coming? Shouts out to XD, you guys are doing great so far. This means that during an ongoing season, we will avoid large-scale balance changes that impact core gameplay, except for emergency fixes for critical bugs. So, that is a very big thing we need to highlight here. Specifically, this talks about large-scale balance changes. So, small nerfs, small buffs, and small tweaks when it comes to bugs, when it comes to things not interacting properly. Maybe something is just completely broken. There's a skill that interacts with another skill in a specific way that gives like perma immunity. I believe that was the case with Veronica. She could steal the buffs and she would literally get perma immunity in like Doki Doki and like things like that, which expect things like that to happen. If there's things that are completely game breaking or unintended game effects between the skills interacting with each other, expect to see those mid-season. You're not going to wait a week or two to have the ladders, completely screwed up by these weird interactions that either make someone do too much damage or give complete immunity, things like that. So this is specifically for large-scale balance changes, so you won't see huge buffs or huge nerfs in the middle of the season. This will allow everyone to engage in competitive play, progression, and planning in a stable environment. That's very important for this game, especially when it comes to PvP games, right? PvP games are so incredibly important when it comes to how the cycles work between nerfs and buffs. Because if they started doing stuff like this mid-season, especially when there is like actual incentives to being like top in PvP, because the top players generally get invited to tournaments, they get more eyes on them if they're like content creators and things like that. So that's what makes it most fair when it comes down to like fair play. Blessing Galore event optimization. The double drop event has finally been confirmed after 11 days of silence. We have gotten Blessing Galore. We've been monitoring your enthusiasm for the Blessing Galore event and appreciate the valuable suggestions provided during the testing phase. After listening to your feedback, we decided to launch Blessing Galore event. The exclusive Blessing Galore event is to set June 21st, UTC +8, and will last for 2 days. During this event, Investigation, which is XP, Threshold, which is modules, and GP Outpost, which is prowess materials, will have double drop rates. Hey, diamond hands, boys. Diamond hands to all of those who staved our stamina pots. I unfortunately used a couple, but it is what it is. This is when June 21st through the 23rd is when you are going to want to use literally every single one of your stamina pots, because we don't know when we're getting another drops event unless something changes in the next week. We don't know exactly. So June 21st comes. You're going to drop, you should have roughly 30 to 40 stamina pots unless you use them, in which you did. Wahaha, you idiot. You should have had diamond hands. You're going to want to basically use all of your stamina pots then to start really giga building your units and start being able to really start pushing PvP and the inevitable more PvE game modes that are coming out. So we are 6 days away, technically, to that. And one last thing to talk about, there is a new redemption code, which is giving 1 stamina pot and 10 basic pulls. You're going to want to use the code DRP621X2. So make sure you guys go and drop that code in the game. Again, it is giving 10 pulls, 1 stamina pot, which is 100 stamina, and 200,000 Etheria coins. So this is huge news. It just dropped about an hour ago. We have been waiting for this news for so long. I'm very happy to see XD finally starting to listen to some of the feedback and actually communicate with us, because since the game has come out about 10 to 11 days ago, we have received virtually no word from XD. I'm sure a lot of us thought they were dead. Someone needed to do a wellness check on them at the office, because we haven't heard anything from them. So glad that they finally came out with some news for us. XD, I'm hoping they realize and learn from this mistake, so that way they can come back and keep communicating with us as so the seasons and the time goes on in this game. But other than that, let me know down in the comments below what you think. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Peace.